Hello, Mags here again today. I thought I would show you how I created these, well I didn't create the papers, but how I coloured these papers. They're handmade paper from Kozo Studio in Thailand. Brilliant, brilliant company. Really good customer service. The packaging is excellent. Everything arrives just as it left the factory. Really good. This one is... let me find the one that isn't coloured. Hopefully you can see here. It's got circles which are raised on them. And then there's this one. If I turn it over you can see the back, which has got lines on it. Now I think the lines are just embossed, whereas the circles are, I think it's the fibres added. So this is the Kozo paper that I've dyed. Inside here are some of the copy papers that I pressed onto them as I was dyeing them. Particularly like this area here. And that's the back. For this one I used, I think it was Violetta, a bit jaded, and Rusty Car Infusions by Paperartsy. But for the one I'm going to do today, to show you, I'm going to use Green Man and Blackcurrant. They're infusions from Paperartsy. I'll pop those aside. So I'm going to do the circle one again and the one with lines. These are some of the other prints. They're a type of monoprint that I've got. Turn it the right way around. From here. That's the squared one. This is some of the lace paper that I used. It was a fragment I had, a portion of a page that Ella had left over. So I coloured it with the Violetta and a bit jaded. And these are the prints that I got from that. Plus obviously the ones in the little book. So we'll set those aside for now. I've got a little stack of copy paper. That's enough room to cover these while I'm working. In here I've got my infusions, the Blackcurrant and the Green Man, and you can see hopefully how much powder I've got in this little palette. I'll just move our papers for the moment. I'm going to add some water to these. I'm not going to spray it in, else they'll go everywhere. That's it. And then I've got two brushes, just old brushes, not particularly good ones, and I'm just going to give it a good stir around just to dilute all the crystals. Make sure they're all diluted with the water. The walnut crystals in the infusions take a little bit longer, so, and you might get a bit of a blob occasionally where the walnut crystals will attach themselves to your brush. Yeah, you can see the colour there, currant. And then Green Man. There we are. So I'll pop those there. So hopefully they're in shot. Yes. And then we'll work on these two pages. I'm just going to make sure that they're in the shot. In fact, I'll just pop those up there a little bit and then there. That's better. So it's a very... Oh, I've also got a spray bottle. May or may not use that. Oh, in fact, I will. I'm just going to give the papers a bit of a spritz to set off with. And I'm going to do both sides. Make sure that the dye stain, the infusions, travels across the paper a bit. There we are, so they've got a good spray. We'll start with the blackcurrant. Get a reasonable amount on my brush, and then I'm just going to go across the line of my paper. I'm going to do every other one. I've got a stray strand of my brush. Do this one. As I say, this is an old brush, so it's not perfect. I've got this little strand that's very annoying. I'm adding quite a lot of the infusions, diluted infusions, because then it will travel more, but I'll get a better monoprint. While we're on, we might as well do the other one. This one I'll go round the circle. Bit of a blob underneath there. And we'll do this little bit. I don't know if this is in shot. We'll do this one here, and this one on the corner. As I say, we've got absolutely loads on there. I'll swap brushes, and we'll go to the Green Man. Whoops, that was a bit of a big blob. That dropped off, but never mind. I'll go up the top. It's quite blobby, this brush. It's a bit looser brush, I think. That's it. Go across again. Quite aware this is quite boring to watch, but it just shows you how much ink I'm putting on. And then we'll go around the circle again with this one. Go around the big circle here. Try not to blob it everywhere. we'll have a go now picking up a print. Just going to get a bit of kitchen roll and just get rid of this. I don't particularly want it there, so we'll just go, just pick that up out of the way just so it doesn't go anywhere else on the paper. As I say, this is just copy paper, fairly thin, and I'm going to lay it over and press, and we'll see what we get. Going in the little circles and on the lines and pressing, and it is a bit like jelly printing. You get what you get. There we are. That's quite nice. We've got the impressions of the raised areas, and that's quite a nice print. So that's our first one. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spritz the handmade paper quite a lot, and you can see more on the one with the circles. The ink moves then. It will make it so that the prints are paler because you're diluting the ink. But it's a nice effect. So we'll go a second time. In fact, what we'll do, we'll add some more ink. Just to the middle and the edges. Again. Right. You can just keep playing until you've used all the ink and you've got as many prints as you want. Right, we've still got ink left. Give it another spray. There we are. Right, another sheet of paper, and you can see how it's travelling here, and it's getting paler, which is absolutely lovely. So we'll see what we get this time. And we'll go in with the circles, pressing on. There's a bit of a wrinkle in there, but never mind. It's because the paper's so wet. And we'll see what we get this time. There we are, that's lovely. We've got the nice little textured bits. That's really, really nice. And you can see there's the green and the little bit of walnut. So that's our second one. We'll go again with a little bit more ink. What we can do is drop some of this ink into our circles. I nearly used all this up, but we'll just add a little bit in there, and we'll put a little bit of this in here, see what happens, because it's nice to combine the colours. No, I don't think I like it on there. We'll just... We'll go along the edges, see what that does. We haven't got much of the green left, but we'll just dot it about, see what happens. Yeah. See what happens when we pull this one. You can see there must be quite a lot of ink because it's starting to come through the paper. That's nice as well. We've got some nice ones here. This is quite a lot paler than this one because I added quite a lot more ink, and it was a lot. There was a lot more crystals in that than there was in here, so you can vary it, but I quite like the paleness. I'm just going to use up this ink that I've got in my palette. I haven't got any green left, so can't do any more green, but I can do that. And as you can see, you can get quite a lot of prints by just going over and over, and you can sort of swap them round. Once you've done one print, I've got that, and that was that way. I'll now turn it the other way over, go on the top again, come off again, and there we are. That's a nice one, that's got both. So we'll do this one, so we'll have to go that way. Try and lay it so that the green is where the pink was, and the pink is where the green is. Yeah, that's nice. That's a change as well. So we've got those. So that's nice. Now I just told you it's paler because there was more ink. I was talking a lot of rubbish. I wasn't thinking. That's because this is this, basically. It's the inside ones, as you can see, are paler, because they are paler. Because that's the prints we got. So just ignore what I said earlier. I was not talking any sense at all. So we'll let these dry. What I'm going to do is very gently pick them up and pop them on some sheets of copy paper, because I may well get another print by doing that. I might not, but you don't know. So that's one. 2. And I'll set those aside somewhere just to dry. Right, so the papers, well, the Kozo papers are dry because I've dried them with my heat gun. But some of these prints are still a little bit damp and flexible, but the colours won't change much now because they're only a little damp. This one I love. This was actually the piece of paper that I picked the Kozo papers up with to move them so I could clean my desk and sort of dry everything. So this was what they were sat on when I moved them out of the way, and you can see that's absolutely lovely. The next one is the double one where I pressed it on a second time. This is okay, but I really like this one, so that's nice. But it's still, they've all got a nice texture and would have some nice elements for collaging. The rest are at varying degrees where I press the papers onto the Handmade Kozo papers with the dye stain on them. I think this one was one where I hadn't added a lot of water. This was where I'd added a little bit more water, I think. Yeah. So you can see there's some nice texture. There's some nice texture here and here and there. It'd be nice for collage. And that was I can remember this is the first one, because it was nice but not as outstanding as some of the others. And then I'll show you the Kozo papers. It's not always easy to see which is because you've pressed on them quite a lot, it flattens out the texture. But this is the top. You can see it's got some lovely, the walnut ink is coming to the edges, which is nice, but also the back is nice as well. And then we've got the stripy one. That's the underneath, and that's the top. So this one, as I have on the front cover here, I think with this one I added a little bit more ink in the centre as well, but I don't mind that that has areas where there isn't any ink. It has some white areas. Now my white gel pen, my Signet Uniball, is running out, but I'll hopefully just show you it can add a bit of interest by just adding some white pen marks. I'm not bothered that it's a bit on off. I quite like that. Move. See, that just brings it to life a little bit, and then you can add some random circles. Just to give it a little bit of something. So you can see that's quite nice. And then I could fold this into and make this a cover of a little journal. I'll just do a little bit on the pink and then you can see what it's like on the pink. Well, it's actually blackcurrant, so it's not pink, but you know what I mean. It's come out fairly pinkish purple. And you could do sort of a random go around the edges of where you imagine the edges are. That looks quite nice, I quite like that. Could do that in a combination of the, as I say, my pen's running out. Yeah, that looks quite nice. Yeah, I like that. So I'll do that with those, and then I could, in fact, I'll try it now while you're watching. I'll get a brush, and dip it in some plain water, and then we'll just go round the edge of where our ink is. Don't think I've got enough water on here, but and then we'll just tear. It's like with decoupage rice paper, if you add a bit of water you get a frilly edge rather than a cut edge. There we are, that would look nice collaged onto a piece of a journal page. We'll do this one as well. Go round, all the way round. You see it tears so easily when it's wet, but it's very, very robust when it's dry. And if there's bits that you don't like, you can just pull them off, tear them, so that it's where you want to be. Yeah, I think that's about it. Maybe I don't like that pinky edge. There we are, and that would be nice as an element. You could even overlap them. Like that on a journal page, have that on the edge, this coming in. That would look nice. So you can see there's lots and lots you can do with these papers once you've added the ink. And don't forget, even these little bits can go on the corner of a page. So you could overlap there. You can see there's lots you can do. So I'll, if I do a journal page or a card or anything, I'll put a picture at the end of the video. Right, so I said I'd show you the journal page if I did one. I just did a quick one just for the fun of it. And you can see where I've glued down, well, I've glued down the background paper, which was one of the ones I created during the video. I've added the torn out pieces of the Kozo paper. This was a little corner bit, a side bit, and then the three. That was partial one, and then another partial one and a full one. And then this is just torn out of a magazine. I have a little bag full of clippings from magazines, just roughly torn it out to echo the edges of the torn circles. Added a little bit of black doodling to echo this navy black wording, and that's it. So I hope you can see that you can create something quite nice just by playing with ink and papers and a few pens.